Remember, you can pause anytime you need. 可以随时按下暂停键。
Hello everyone, today we are going to describe about oil painting, acrylic, and watercolor. So we were going to teach you how to separate oil painting, acrylic, watercolor. So we will separate by package and use, function, and the drawing tools. So we can begin to do it. First, the package. Okay, let's see my oil painting first. So all the package you will see oil color. Okay, so you will see on the package what kind of brand you are having, the big amount or small too. They all have the oil colors right on the package. And let's see my acrylic. So you will see I have the acrylic is right here. It's the big acrylic, and even the bottom one we have the acrylic pens. And for the watercolor, the same thing. We will see the watercolor pens right here and right there, whatever the size of the package. And we also can separate by the size of the package. So for the oil painting and the acrylic, they usually have a large amount. So you see the tube is much bigger. And for the watercolor, they usually come with the small amount. They don't come with the big package. So we can simply separate by the package. Because the oil painting and acrylic, they use more paints while you are doing. And for the watercolor, usually we just need a small amount to do the coloring. And next, use and function. All the different paints, they have different function and use. Let's see more sample. How can we separate if you color on the paper? Okay, I have my oil painting, I have acrylic and watercolor on my paper. So let me grab my water here. So we can use the water to test which one is the watercolor, which one is acrylic, which one is oil paint. So first, I use the water to apply on the watercolor. And you see the watercolor is melt. The color is coming out, it's blending. It's not the waterproof. The color will keep blending out by the water. So this is the watercolor. And then let's see my acrylic. If I apply the water on the acrylic, you will see the color is waterproof. It's not going to blend in out like the watercolor. It's nothing come out. Maybe a little, but not that much. And even my oil painting is waterproof. Nothing come out with the water. Okay? So we know watercolor is not waterproof, right? So let's see how different between the acrylic and oil painting. So the acrylic, you can apply the water on top and it looks like a small pond there. But you see, when I apply the water on the oil painting, it looks like a small drop of the water. Because oil painting is made by the oil, it is waterproof. It cannot be mixed with the water. But acrylic is mixed with the water. Okay, let's summarize our paints. The oil painting, acrylic, they are waterproof. The watercolor is not the waterproof. Which means watercolor can reusable, so we can mix them with the water. So we usually put the watercolor in the tray, so we can use that for the next time. I just need to add the water into my tray to mix with the color. Then I can just color it for my next drawing. So you don't need to wash the watercolor. So we can reuse the watercolor anytime we need. But the acrylic and the oil paint, when it's dry, is not longer to use, so it's one-time thing. So you have to apply the amount that you need for this time, so you don't waste the paint. Okay, so use the amount that you need to use. So again, for the watercolor, you can reuse it by apply the water. So you can have a watercolor tray to storage your watercolor for the next time. The drawing tools you need. All the media come with different material and the tools. First, the brush. So this is the oil painting brush. It looks more dry and the fabric is more hard. It looks like the dry grass. And you see this one is for acrylic and it also can be used for the watercolor. So the fabric is more soft. Okay. And the one looks like the element fabric. It is for the watercolor. It's very soft and very expensive as well. So we can separate by the price. Because the oil painting, they cannot be used for a longer time. It's just short term. So it is come with the cheaper price. Okay. But for the acrylic and especially for the watercolor, it is the longer term. So it always comes with the highest price, but if you're taking care of the brushes for the watercolor, and it can be used forever as long as we need to. And now we are going to teach you how to clean the brush. So for the oil painting brush, we need to use the special one. Okay, so this one is the oil remover. Okay, so it can remove the paints, the oil paint, and it comes with a very strong smell. Okay, because this is the oil texture, so we usually use this to clean out the brush. And as you see, why I say the oil painting brush is shorter term, because it will damage the brush every time you wash it. Okay, but there's no other way we can do. And you see the watercolor brush and alkali brushes, we only clean up with the water. So that's why we can use the alkali brush and watercolor brush for a longer term. So as you see, all the media, all the tools, they need to use different stuff to clean out the brushes. So don't use the wrong thing to clean out your brushes. Okay, so we can keep our brushes for a longer time to use. So different media come with different brushes. It also comes with different media paper. For the watercolor, we will use the watercolor paper. But we also can see something looks like mixed media paper, and you can see the description right here. We can use alkali, watercolor. So we can color that with the watercolor as well. But I will say, if you want to do the watercolor well, you better to use the watercolor, because the paper is stronger and more professional for the watercolor. Okay, so one media paper for oil painting and alkali. They also can color on the watercolor paper or mixed media paper, but I will say the paint will be a little bit too thick if the paper has a lower pound. Okay, so you can find on the cover of the paper. So the paint might be break, might be has the wrinkle, might have the crack if the paper is too thin. Alkali and the oil paint, they have their special painting stuff. So simply we can see we have the painting board. So we can buy it from the dollar store. It looks like the Kevin, it looks like a board, okay, just like this one. And it also comes with a pad. So you can see there is the oil painting paper pad. Okay, so the texture, it doesn't look like the watercolor paper, it looks like the fabric inside, so you can use the pad as well. And the alkali is something between the watercolor and oil paints, so the alkali can basically to color on most of the texture. So whatever is the glass, is the wood, is the fabrics, so it can be on anything. Okay, so that's the other paint that we might see at home. For example, this one, I can see the alkali or watercolor on the package. How can I know what kind of color, what kind of media of this one? So when we try it on the paper and when it's dry, it looks like the watercolor. It will blend in with the water. It looks like the watercolor, but it is not actually the real watercolor, okay? But that's good enough for the little one to play with the color. This is a brand new product. They added more stuff inside the watercolor because it's easier for you to wash. If your kid mess around with the clothes, with the furniture, you can wash it very easily. But again, if you keep this for a longer time, it cannot be washed that clean as well. But you can clean that right away and it will be very easy to clean out. So this is good enough for the little one to play with the color, with the watercolor, but it's not real watercolor. So what if you want to use the pen to color on the shoes, on the bag, on the clothes? What kind of media that you use? Okay, so I will use the alkali because it's waterproof, okay? So I will use the alkali to color on my package, on my bag, on my shoes. But there has a professional, it's a fabric, okay? It's only color for the fabric. So if you want to color with the clothes, with on your t-shirts, you can use that as the professional one, and it has a better result than the alkali paint. Now you can enjoy your painting art time. Bye bye, see you next time.